Rumors about Prince Philip's romantic escapades never disappeared from the press. It must be said that Her Majesty's husband almost always restrained himself, but sometimes he still rebuffed His Highness's intrusive reporters. The Duke of Edinburgh always demonstrated his commitment to duty and the crown, and his loyalty to his august wife. However, was he actually faithful to his wife? There are many articles and entire books analyzing Prince Philip's personal life. Tall, stately, and undoubtedly charming, this descendant of the Greek and Danish royal houses has always been popular with women. And then, different authors offer different interpretations. Some report innocent flirtations, while others insist that the patriarch of the royal family had children on the side. One of the royal biographers insists that the Duke of Edinburgh had at least 12 extramarital affairs. It is difficult to prove, but there were indeed a number of women with whom Prince Philip remained on friendly terms for many years. All of them were younger than him, beautiful, and mostly belonged to the aristocracy. Actress Pat Kirkwood was often rumored to have had an affair with the Duke of Edinburgh. The star, with her doe eyes and long, slender legs, which were known as the eighth wonder of the world, was distinguished by her fabulous appearance and, according to many observers, resembled the young Princess Elizabeth. Rumor has it that the star had an affair with the prince when the future queen was pregnant with Prince Charles, although no evidence of this has been found. In 1948, Pat dated Philip's friend, high society photographer Sterling Naum, known by the pseudonym Baron. Allegedly, he once took Philip and another friend to meet Pat in her dressing room after a performance at the London Palladium, and the next morning the three of them ate eggs at the photographer's house. There is still no confirmation of this, but many are confused as to why Kirkwood was twice denied the Order of the British Empire. Once Pat, who had been severely harassed by the media, told a reporter, "My life would have been happier and easier if Prince Philip, instead of coming uninvited to my dressing room, had gone home to his pregnant wife that night." In 1988, after another story about Pat Kirkwood was published, Philip wrote to her from Balmoral, "I am very sorry that you have been subjected to these ridiculous rumors." As much as I would like to put an end to this and many other similar stories, we have found that apart from bringing a libel suit, there is absolutely nothing that can be done. The beginning of a series of betrayals, according to popular belief, was the early death of Elizabeth's father and her accession to the throne. It is said that the couple had planned to live much longer as the heir apparent, and Philip was disheartened by the fact that he would have to leave military service and devote himself to public life, going from head of the family to simply a consort, as well as seeing his wife much less often. A serious transformation and an unwanted move awaited him. He looked completely crushed, as if the whole world had collapsed on him, recalled the prince's friend Mike Parker, who was in Kenya with the royal couple when news of the unexpected death of George VI reached them. In the Navy, he literally commanded his ship. At Clarence House, it was largely his show. When he arrived at Buckingham Palace, everything changed, Parker added. He immediately realized that the idol of his life and their life together had come to an end. He covered his face with a newspaper and stood there for about 5 minutes, recalled Pamela Mountbatten, Elizabeth's lady-in-waiting and Philip's relative. The shock of what had happened and the enormity of the consequences temporarily knocked him out. From mid-October 1956 to mid-February 1957, His Highness was on a solo tour aboard the yacht Britannia. As part of the tour, the Duke of Edinburgh sailed from one country to another on the luxurious yacht Britannia in the company of close friends. According to biographer Kitty Kelly, the 35-year-old Prince Philip was very attractive and knew how to charm at first sight, which often gave rise to rumors about the excessive amorousness of Queen Elizabeth's spouse. That tour by the Duke of Edinburgh was an attempt to take a break from the publicity and burden of his position, but journalists and biographers saw it as something else. According to rumors, Philip even has an adult daughter out of wedlock from a woman with whom he cheated on the Queen in the past. However, the expert also noted that thanks to his high position and authority, Prince Philip always managed to avoid scandals and direct questions from journalists. These rumors circulated around the world, but as the Queen's husband, he had a certain immunity, Kelly added. It is noteworthy that the Queen herself apparently ignores the rumors. According to insiders, when the Duke of Edinburgh returned home with an impressive beard grown during his trip, Her Majesty decided to play a joke on her husband and suggested that all Buckingham Palace staff also wear fake beards. Incidentally, Her Majesty's joke may serve as a refutation of the version of the above events presented in The Crown. In the series, the Duke of Edinburgh did indeed indulge in romantic adventures during the early part of the tour, rumors of which greatly upset his wife, but then the prince remembered his duty to Britain and his family and gave up his dissolute lifestyle. Perhaps it is just a rumor that arose from the similarity between the star's nickname and the royal title, but British actress Merle Oberon, also known as Queenie, was often included in the list of possible lovers of Her Majesty's spouse. Born in Mumbai, the actress was named Queenie in honor of George V's wife, Queen Mary. Incidentally, Oberon once played Anne Boleyn, which greatly excited the imagination of reporters. It is also said that the star kept a photograph of Prince Philip with his personal autograph, although no one has ever indicated where and when Merle could have met the Duke of Edinburgh, who was 10 years her junior. Most likely, this was just another case of newspaper speculation. The list of the Duke of Edinburgh's lovers often includes BAFTA award winner Anna Massey, whose appearance vaguely resembles that of the young Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. Perhaps that is where the similarities between the representative of the British acting dynasty and the royal family end. Actress and singer Hélène Cordet is sometimes referred to as the Queen's husband's true love. She is of Greek descent, but was born in France. Hélène had known Prince Philip since childhood, when His Highness stayed at the Cordet family villa in Le Touquet. Incidentally, Philip was often credited as the father of Hélène's children, Max and Louise, which was facilitated by 3 facts. The woman separated from her husband and flatly refused to name the father of her children. Felipe became the children's godfather, and Max was sent to study in Scotland at Gordonstoun, a boarding school attended by Her Majesty's husband and later the heir to the British throne. Incidentally, when Princess Diana was at the height of her hatred for Prince Philip shortly before her death, she claimed that the patriarch of the royal family had several illegitimate children and was determined to find out who they were. In a 1995 interview, Eileen Parker talked about how Philip was seeing a girl, receiving messages from her at a London club, and that one day the lovers left the club together. However, no names were mentioned. It is said that Philip always made sure that the guest lists for Sandringham and Balmoral included at least one woman whom he considered attractive. One such lady was the Queen's cousin, Princess Alexandra, who became one of Philip's first close friends as a married man. She was 15 years younger than His Highness, and unlike the Queen, loved sailing. Reporters often wrote about the romance between the royal relatives and Alexandra's problems in her marriage to Angus Ogilvy, which, however, were never confirmed. Alexandra Hamilton, also known as Sacha, Duchess of Abercorn, was 25 years younger than Philip. She was another close friend of His Highness. Rumors about the duo's relationship began to spread in 1987 when a newspaper published a photo of Philip wearing a towel and putting his arm around the Duchess, who was wearing a swimsuit. Sacha once explained, "The Queen gives Philip a lot of freedom." She told biographer Giles Brandrett that she had been passionately friends with Philip for over 20 years. "Of course, it wasn't a full-fledged relationship," she said. "I didn't sleep with him. But that's probably how it looked to the world. It's complicated and at the same time quite simple. He needed a playmate and someone to share his intellectual pursuits." When asked if Philip had a relationship with any of his playmates, Sarah Bradford expressed doubt. However, Sarah Bradford, a highly respected biographer, told Giles Brandrett, "The Duke of Edinburgh has had affairs, yes, full-blown affairs, and more than one. He has flings, and the Queen accepts that. I think she believes that's what men are like. Philip and Sacha Abercrombie definitely had an affair, no doubt about it." However, the opinion was not backed up by any evidence. One of Edinburgh's last playmates was Penelope Natchbull, Countess Mountbatten of Burma, also known as Penny Romsey. The slender blonde was 32 years younger than His Highness. At Prince Philip's funeral, she was among the most intimate circle of guests, limited to 30 people. Since 1994, she had been His Highness's partner in driving competitions. Prince Philip is known for his candid manner of saying whatever is on his mind. This also applies to the Duke of Edinburgh's closest relatives, whom he often shocks with his bluntness. According to some accounts, Philip once told his grandson Prince Harry that he could have fun with actresses, but not marry them.